Hello everyone, let's welcome the next speaker, Giovanni Becchis, with the talk Fighting Spam for Fun and Profit.
Hi, I am Giovanni Becchis. I'm Apache and OpenBSD developer, and today I'll talk about what happens in the past 4 years in SpamAssassin community and what will maybe be the future of this software. First, just to note that SpamAssassin is mostly seen as a plug-and-play software by several users that just install it, update rules, and forgot completely. It should be seen as something different, so it should be seen as a framework to develop something on top of it. So to get out the most, you have to write your own rules for your own kind of spam you're seeing, because spam is different from everybody, so it's different basically of the language you speak, of the interests and of other things. And participate to mass check. That's a client software mechanism. I will talk more later about it. And as a general purpose framework, it's not just an anti-spam software, because it's used to protect some web forms, and it's, I think in Holland there's the not so famous CMS that's integrated in SpamAssassin to check web form submission. So first, what's mass check? Mass check is a client-server software that's integrated in SpamAssassin. It's not deployed with general distributions. It lives on SVN. You have to check it out extra, and it takes an input, a spam folder and a ham folder. It downloads the latest version of SpamAssassin with all the rules, and it checks all your messages for spam and ham with new rules. Rules are committed in SVN repo in each developer sandbox. So there are some rules that are never pushed to the public. Once the software has detected how new rules are perform on your folder, send the results to an Apache server, and the Apache server grab all the stuff and decides if spam has changed in some way, and decides to push new rules. For example, where are some new Bitcoin obfuscation technique. These new rules get pushed to the public and get new default scores that are up, lower, or not. Depends on how it goes. And it's a good way. You can use it on your own as well. So it's a good way to know if how your rules are performed, and how it's your rules, or in general the rules, the public rules, are performing with your mail flow. So you can, for example, there's also a web interface. You can, for every on your mail flow, you can detect the score assigned to messages, and by which rule, if there are some rules that overlaps. So, for example, if a lot of spam messages are hidden by 2 or 3 rules, and there's one rule that it's all the messages. It could be possible to remove this rule and say push up the scores to one other rule, so you have the same results, but it would perform better because it has less rules to perform it and to check. So in latest release is 3.4.2 in September, and the previous one was 3 years and a half. And the big time was due to some problems we encountered in development. In particular, there were some problems with the Apache VM, so the sysadmin team had to recreate from scratch some infrastructure, and the server part of the mass check would be was not very well documented, so it will be recreated from scratch. The main problem is that from when the mass check tool sends the reports to the server, and the server sends to the public the new rules, it passes a couple of days. So if you are in a trial and error phase in development, it's a long time to wait such a couple of days to know the results of your code. And there were some security fixes for PDF info plugin and for in the core, and general security auditing has been done, and it's ongoing as well. And a notable pair bug we found. During the development of 3.4.2, we optimized the startup code, and during the regression test, we check out that the parser skipped some URL in emails only on Red Hat systems. This was, in the very end, the cause was that Red Hat compiles pair with the 45 source free option by GCC, and this maybe it does a bug in the pair itself, and get evaluated in a different way in optimization, a part of the optimization code that in the optimization of the hash, it removes some random data. So which we changed the code, and we're working with Red Hat to find the original reason in the pair code of this bug. There were some assorted improvements. First of all, faster startup code with some optimization. Finally, we took a look at the SpamC and optimized the code. Security, so removed the SSL v3 and other stuff. There were some free-mail anti-forge improvements. So there are some code that checks if, for example, you are sending an email as a Gmail user, but you're not using Gmail. So it's trying out to check this kind of abuse. You can check if email, in previous version you can check if email is coming from a particular nation, so from France or whatever. And now you can check with continent as well, so it's easier if you can block or score a particular continent without setting a lot of rules for each nation. Some improvements in the URL local BL plugin that detects if an URL in the mail is coming from a particular source, and some very bad file descriptor leaks in the TXRep plugin, which is a plugin that recognizes and stores from where an email is coming. So the IP address, the score of the email, the DKIM signature. So if this email, a similar email comes from the same IP address with the same DKIM signature, it's probably not a spam because it's a correct correspondence, so it can detect it and lower the global score. And regression tests change it completely to be more performant and to be able to add better tests. Some additions that has been done in 3.4.2 and that will be even better in SpamAssassin 4. We consider that we will release 3.4.3, I think, in the next weeks, and maybe SpamAssassin 4 this year, I hope, is the HBL plugin. It's a plugin which is present in RSpam as well, and it's a particular DNS blacklist because it doesn't. It's not a big blacklist for IP addresses. It's a blacklist of hashes. Because say, for example, if a message is trying to a spam message is coming from a Google server or a Microsoft server, you cannot block all Google or Microsoft net block. So you can block this hash, and this hash is stored as this particular email address. With this technique in SpamAssassin 4, we develop a new plugin. The SpamAssassin 4 does a modified version of HBL, or if you want to use this feature in SpamAssassin 3.4, there's an additional plugin. We developed a DNS blacklist for Bitcoin addresses. So you can query the DNS to the hash of the Bitcoin address .bl/btcblack.at, and it replies if it has been used for fraudulent purposes or not. So the plugin scans the email for Bitcoin addresses and checks the DNS, and so you can very easily detect Bitcoin scam emails. Then there was another thing they developed was GIP2 support, because MaxMind is the bigger player in geolocalization, and they decided that starting from latest April, they would not have more support for the legacy GIP database, but also they pushing for the new version. The problems is that the new version with Perl are or very slow or are x86-64 only. So we developed the plugin for MaxMind, and we developed on the same plugin we had support also for EP country DB file as an additional option. It's a different approach. It doesn't use MaxMind databases, but it's a database created downloading the TXT files directly from RIPE, Afrinic, ARIN, etc. And it's very fast. It doesn't need all the longer dependencies MaxMind have. It's not complete as the MaxMind one, because MaxMind one has at least has commercial support, and it has database for ISP, for example, or CD names, or a lot of other interesting things. There's a new anti-phishing plugin based on the Fish Tank or OpenFish projects. In 3.4.2, it's it's been developed for 342, and in 343 it has been changed to be very, very more fast, and more database will be added soon. So it's a way to try to detect more tentative of phishing in emails. One other addition interesting is resource limits, and it tries to limit the resources consumption of the server. This is one interesting thing. The main problem is that the mass check is based on the people that are using this software. So rules are public rules are determined on the span of the people using mass check, and the vast majority of people using mass check are from US, and the rules, the developers write rules for English spam. So there are some additional channels. There are some from Italy, France, Germany, Greece, I think, that trying to write rules specific for non-English language. So it's very, very efficient to detect if spam, if your main language is not English. This is a new plugin in SpamAssassin 4. It detects if there's an attachment with a macro in Word or Excel, and it detects if this macro is trying to doing something it's not aimed to do. So SpamAssassin 4 will have full UTF-8 support, so there's no more conversion between the email and the UTF-8, but it's full UTF-8. It will have GeoDB support, even better than what we have in 3 at the moment, and better TXREP handling. Some fixes for Postgres has been committed these days, and it will be available in 343. Some more will be available only in 4. If you have any question.
So we happen to receive a lot of French spam and also Ukrainian spam for some reason. And I've developed like a huge list of custom rules. Should I then actually submit them somewhere, or what should I do to them? Because I use them for myself, but I presume other people are also getting this spam.
Yeah. I have a similar problem with the Italian spam. I put my rules on a web server. There's a procedure to, at the moment, it means you write your rules, you sign with a PGP key, then you put it on a web server, and you just, and on the DNS, you have a particular TXT record. So when the client tries to do downloads, it just queries the DNS and checks if there's a new rule to download or not. So it will be, I think there is an official French channel, so you can interact with them to merge the efforts. That could be a...
Any other question? Yeah.
In a case where there are a lot of different people behind SpamAssassin infrastructure, do you have any advice for to make it work? Because spam is, like you said, different for everybody. Should there be different instances of a SpamAssassin running in parallel with different kind of rules?
I had in the past some of those problems because I had a customer that had a lot of traffic with commercial traffic with China, and then there was the opposite, other people that were getting only spam with China. And the solution was that one solution will be 2 instances, but the better one will be user preferences dedicated to that, different user preferences dedicated to that customer, to this particular, and you can use also the database per user. So you can, every user can have his Bayesian database you can train for every user, and so it can detect this difference.
Any other question? No. So, thank you.